The first thing I did after being reborn was quietly kick away the magnolia flower by my foot. Because Jack, the brightest young general in Great Liang, had announced in front of everyone, "Whoever picks up that magnolia flower will be my wife." All the noble ladies were fighting for it, but I quietly kicked the flower beside my foot to someone else. In my past life, when I picked up that flower, Jack just stood there like he didn't care. Only later did I learn he was just acting out because the woman he loved had married someone else. And I spent my whole life living in her shadow, then drowned in endless regret. Now that I had another chance, the magnolia I had avoided was suddenly swept up by a cold wind and slammed right onto my lap. The Empress smiled and decided to step in. "Then let me decide this marriage." I dropped to my knees and cut her off. "Your Majesty, I dare not. I already have someone I love." I found an excuse and left. The evening wind blew past, carrying the chill of early spring. The white magnolias in the back courtyard stood out under the moonlight. I suddenly took a sharp breath. I had actually returned to that banquet, back to when I was 16 and not yet trapped by fate. In my past life, when I found that flower behind my seat, I thought heaven had blessed me. But I never could have imagined that it would be the last happy moment of my life. When I married into the general's estate in my past life, the whole capital was waiting to watch the joke. They said General Jack hadn't even seen what she looked like. He had only tossed out that flower casually, with her lowly family background. Does she really think she's good enough for him? Marrying him will only make her suffer. On our wedding night, Jack never showed up. When dawn was almost breaking, a maid quietly told me the general fell asleep in the study. I lifted my own bridal veil and drank the wedding wine alone. The red candles on the table burned out, wax tears dripping down. Early the next morning, Jack left for the front line without saying a word. From then on, everyone in the estate understood. The general hated his new bride. My mother-in-law blamed me for everything. A girl from an ordinary family will never belong in a place like this. You can't even keep your husband by your side. What use are you? I knelt on the ground and didn't dare raise my head, tears circling in my eyes. I asked myself again and again, "Lucy, what exactly did you do wrong?" My mistake was marrying a man who didn't love me. But in that life, I never had a choice. In the 5th year of our marriage, Jack returned from the front line. He came home in the middle of the night. I was exhausted, but I still followed the estate rules and kept a lamp lit in the main hall. Jack had probably forgotten those rules long ago. When he saw me, he was visibly surprised. I smiled obediently. "I was waiting for you, my lord." Jack's eyes flickered. After a long pause, he pulled me tightly into his arms and sighed. "You have suffered, my wife. From now on, I will never leave again." I froze. My heart, cold for so long, suddenly jumped. That night, he left his kiss behind. It was so urgent I could barely breathe. I whispered, "Husband." He gripped my waist and said in a low voice, "Then the general will let you go." After that night, he acted like a young man in love, always buying me little things every few days. Jewelry, sweets, and pastries. Back then, I had no idea that the real reason he came back to the capital was because Anna, his first love, had given birth. Just like he only married me because Anna had married someone else. I didn't understand any of it. I was just foolishly happy. I thought my life was finally about to get better. Until one night, Jack stumbled drunk into my bedroom. This time, he didn't turn off the lights. He sat by the bed and looked at me. He had never looked at me with such deep affection before. Then he called me Anna. My whole body went cold. Everyone knew Anna, the only female commander of our dynasty. She had won countless battles, stood equal to Jack, and looked heroic with a red spear in hand. That night, Jack was different from before. He was especially gentle while I kept crying. The bright white moonlight mixed with my tears and turned into the look in my eyes. I thought back to that banquet years ago, to the white magnolia the young commander had tossed in front of me out of anger. I thought back to all those years in the general's inner courtyard, crying through the night as the watchman called the hours. It hurt so much I felt like I was dying. Jack noticed nothing. He leaned over me. His shadow almost swallowed me whole, yet he called out again and again so gently, so lovingly, "Anna." In the years after that, I behaved myself and treated him politely. Even my picky mother-in-law could find no fault with me. Once I heard Jack sigh to his subordinate. "Lucy manages the household well, but Lucy is not the one I love." My heart was left at the border long ago. I thought I no longer cared, but for some reason my heart still ached. Later, Anna died in battle, and Jack locked himself in his room, refusing to see anyone. I didn't want to bother with him, but his men had no choice and came begging me for help. "Please go in and check on the commander." I walked in. The room was dark, with no lamps lit. Jack hugged me from behind. "Anna, don't leave." His voice was slurred and choked with sobs. "I accepted it when you married someone else. I accepted it when you had a child. But why did you have to die in battle?" There were many unsent letters scattered across the desk. I saw clearly that every letter began with Anna. I stood in the darkness and listened to him cry for a very, very long time. Then I decided to grant his wish. I took out those love letters one by one and laid them on the floor. I had always been weak. Since childhood, I had never done anything out of line, not even dared to shout. But at that moment, I suddenly didn't want to live like that anymore. I set the love letters on fire and did not wake him. The letters curled and turned gray in the flames like funeral paper money. "Anna is gone. Since you love her so deeply, you should go with her." The flames lit my face, bright and dark by turns. I touched Jack's cheek and whispered gently, "Did you hear me? She is very lonely. General Jack, go keep her company. Go with her. I have burned all your letters and sent them to her." Next should be, the flame suddenly grew larger and crawled up the edge of his robe. I stood up and melted into the night. I didn't know where I was going. I couldn't go back to my birth family. And my husband's home was never my home either. The world was so big, but where else could I go? Servants rushed past me in a panic. "The room is on fire. Hurry, go find the madam." How stupid. I wanted to ask, why call for the madam? The madam doesn't know how to put out a fire. I stared at my reflection in the water. She always kept her head down like a clay statue. No temper, no resistance, letting others do whatever they wanted. but now her eyes curved with a smile. She was actually laughing wildly. She told me, "Lucy, you're free now." The moment the reflection shattered, the moonlight lit everything up. I looked at the white magnolias on the tree and thought back to the banquet just now. Jack was still the young commander I remembered. Arrogant, cold, and high above everyone else. Only when I refused the marriage did a hint of anger finally show on his face. "Don't worry, I'm not desperate enough to want you." I was still thinking about it when a mocking laugh suddenly sounded beside my ear. "You idiot!" A chill climbed up my back and I whipped my head around. At the dim end of the corridor stood a person. His skin was deathly pale, his eyes pitch black, and under the moonlight he cast no shadow. No, I guessed he wasn't human. He was an evil ghost that the fire in my last life hadn't burned clean, crawling out of the ashes. An icy breath brushed my neck, and he smiled as he called me his wife. I gave a soft sigh. What a shame. Jack moved closer with a half smile, so close I could feel the cold, eerie air around him. "You look very disappointed." I smiled until my eyes curved and whispered, "Of course. I failed to burn the commander to ashes. Instead, I let you come back half dead to haunt me." The evening wind suddenly grew stronger. Jack gently touched my face. "You are my rightful wife. Whether in the living world or the underworld, of course I should stay with you." Within 3 days, news that I had rejected the marriage spread through the whole city. The rumors got more and more exaggerated, until they became... Miss Lucy looked down on Commander Jack. Miss Lucy already had a lover. The Lucy family's status was low. My father was only a 5th rank official. All my mother ever wanted was for me to marry well and bring honor to the family. The Jack family is such a powerful household. Countless people want to marry up and can't. And look at you. You rejected him in public and even made up some man you love. My mother wiped her tears. "Tell me, who is that man?" I lowered my head. "There is no such man. I simply don't want to marry Jack." My mother's tears fell even harder, as if I had caused some terrible disaster. But what did I do wrong? My only mistake was refusing to marry a man I did not like and who did not like me either. I had simply lived 2 lives, and didn't want to suffer through days like that again. At dusk, the evil ghost appeared. "See? Who would dare want you?" Jack sneered. "Even if you start over, you still have no choice but me." He had been following me for days. He disappeared during the day and showed up every night. Sometimes he stood in the corridor, sometimes he sat on the roof. Most of the time, he leaned behind me and muttered. I didn't care. He didn't even have a body left. He was just a wandering ghost. His greatest trick was probably just stirring up that cold wind at the banquet. I snapped back. "Choose you? You're already dead, but I'm still alive. Who wants me is none of your business." Jack looked furious, as if I had hit a nerve. "You rejected him in public. He won't let you off." I let out a small laugh. Did that fire roast his brain too? If he wants to watch someone make a fool of themselves, he should go look in a mirror. You mean that little brat? I'll be waiting. The day of the hunt was clear and sunny. I originally had no plan to go, but the Empress sent an invitation. Who gave that order was obvious. It was young Commander Jack. He still remembers you. My mother finally stopped crying. She held my hand and said, "Lucy, this is a great honor. You cannot act foolishly again." Was it a great honor or a great joke? I lowered my head and said nothing. Inside the Empress's tent burned the finest pear incense. The young ladies sat in small groups, whispering. That's the second daughter of the Lucy family. She actually rejected young Commander Jack's marriage in public. How ungrateful. I had heard words like that countless times in my past life. Back then, when I married into the commander's estate, they laughed at me for reaching too high. Now that I rejected the marriage, I had become someone who didn't know her place. While they were talking, Jack arrived at the main tent. All the young ladies in the tent blushed. Today, he wore a black riding outfit, with broad shoulders, a slim waist, and a straight posture. After greeting the Empress, his gaze slowly landed on me. Miss Lucy is here too. I didn't answer, and he didn't mind. The Empress smiled. Instead of going to the hunting ground, you came to greet me. Not busy? Jack smiled. Thank you, Auntie. There's black tea here, so I'll have a sip before I go. While he was speaking, he looked down at me again. Miss Lucy, did that sweetheart of yours show up today? I lifted my face and stared at him. He sat there lazily with a mocking smile on his lips. These past few days, he had dug up everything about me, so of course he knew that so-called crush was made up. I don't have anyone I like. Jack raised an eyebrow. I wasn't feeling well that day, so I spoke out of turn. I lowered my head, acting respectful. Please forgive me, young commander. The tent went quiet. The noble ladies exchanged looks, but Jack laughed out loud. His face was cold and arrogant. Lucy, this isn't up to you. Whether you like it or not, you picked up my flower, so you're my wife. The hunting grounds were in the mountains. When we entered, the queen held my hand and insisted I ride with her. Jack isn't good with words, but he really does care about you. She smiled gently. Look at him. He insists on marrying you. I lowered my head in fear. The queen studied me for a few moments, even more confused about why Jack had chosen me. The carriage slowly moved forward along the mountain path. A spring breeze blew in, carrying the scent of flowers. Everything seemed fine. I touched the handkerchief hidden in my sleeve. When we entered the mountain, a rich girl in yellow had slipped it to me. There are lots of bugs in the woods. Take this to keep mosquitoes away. I knew her. In my last life, she was the first one to pick up Jack's flower at the banquet. Just now, when Jack said in the queen's tent that he wanted to marry me, her eyes turned red. I didn't refuse. I pretended to be scared and accepted it. In my last life, I heard the elders at home mention a spice from the borderlands. It did nothing to people, but once wild beasts smelled it, they would go crazy. I never expected someone in this life would use that trick against me. What a shame. When the carriage reached a remote forest road, I quietly stuffed the handkerchief into the gap of the seat cushion. This spot was extremely close to the queen. If a beast came, the first person it attacked would definitely not be anyone else. The queen was still chatting with the noble ladies beside her, completely unaware. Suddenly, the forest went silent. No birds, no cicadas, not even the wind. A roar suddenly exploded from the woods. "A beast! Protect her! Hurry!" But it was already too late. In the blink of an eye, a fierce, massive tiger lunged at the carriage so fast the guards couldn't react. The queen's face went pale. At that critical moment, I shielded her with my body. Everyone screamed. The second the tiger bit toward us, I turned and pulled out the jeweled dagger hanging from the queen's waist, then stabbed it hard into the tiger's neck. Hot blood sprayed out, but the tiger didn't stop. Its claws sliced across my shoulder and blood poured out. I was swatted away and slammed hard onto the ground. The tiger was enraged and growled as it closed in on me. The dagger was still stuck in its neck. I had lost my weapon, so I could only brace my hands on the ground and crawl backward. The wound on my shoulder hurt like hell. Blood ran down my arm and left a trail on the ground. The tiger came closer, step by step, its eyes full of killing intent. The terrified guards were rushing over, but they were still too far away. "Just hold on, and it'll be okay." But the tiger gave me no opening. It bared its teeth, pale and sharp, its breath foul. My hand blindly clawed through the dirt, grabbed a handful of sand, and threw it straight into its eyes. The moment the tiger froze, I rolled to the side and grabbed a piece of wood to block myself. The tiger charged at me in a frenzy. My pupils shrank, and that second seemed to slow to a crawl. At the last possible moment, a cold flash passed before my eyes. A red-tasseled spear flew through the air and pierced the beast's head. The tiger's huge body crashed to the ground, blood splashing all over me. A young commander stepped on the beast's head. She bent down and looked at me. "You've got guts, huh?" Her voice was clear, with a hint of teasing. She was clearly a woman. She raised an eyebrow and glanced at the little stick in my hand. "You were going to poke a beast with that?" I froze. Behind me came Jack's trembling voice. Jack looked overjoyed. "When did you return to the capital? Why didn't you tell me? I would have gone to meet you." "Commander Jack." Anna cut him off, polite but distant. "I returned by order and happened to pass through here. No need to trouble yourself." Jack clenched and unclenched his hand. His gaze landed on me. "Right, Anna." Jack seemed to suddenly remember something. "Let me introduce you. This is my future wife, Lucy." His tone was casual when he said it, but his eyes stayed fixed on Anna. He thought she would be shocked, upset, maybe even care just a little. But Anna only gave a simple, "Oh," then looked at me and back at Jack. "Future wife?" "Yeah." Jack wore his usual careless smile. She looked decent at the banquet, so I decided on her. Anna clicked her tongue. Jack's smile froze. "What's that supposed to mean?" Anna didn't answer. She stared at me and tilted her head in confusion. "Lucy, how could you ever fall for him?" Jack's expression changed, and I froze too. Anna didn't wait for him to respond. She simply tore off a strip of her sleeve and casually bandaged my wound. Jack stood there, his face shifting between pale and furious. "Anna, what's that supposed to mean?" "Your future wife is hurt, and you don't even ask if she's in pain. Instead, you're standing here getting mad at me." Anna's eyes were calm. "Besides, we're both engaged. Commander Jack, please behave yourself." After saying that, she picked me up around the waist. She smelled like fresh, clean soap. It felt so safe that I almost wanted to fall asleep. I clenched my palm and forced myself to stay awake. "Miss Anna," I called her softly. "I can walk on my own." Anna glanced down at me and said nothing. I bit my lip and repeated myself, but she still ignored me. She carried me steadily forward. I had no choice but to reach out and push her shoulder, but the second my hand touched her clothes, she grabbed my wrist. Her eyes fell on my palm, which was covered in crescent-shaped red marks from my nails. My face went pale and I felt embarrassed, like she had seen right through me. The next second, I heard her sigh softly. "You're in this much pain and you're still trying to tough it out. Lucy, you must have suffered a lot." I woke up from the pain. The wound on my shoulder felt like it was burning, and I instinctively curled up. "Don't move!" The tent was dim, with only one small lamp lit. A young man sat by the bed, reading a medical book. He had a handsome, delicate face. His features looked 70% like Anna's, but without her bold, dazzling presence. Instead, he felt cold and distant. He closed the medical book and glanced at me. "I just stitched up your wound. If you tear it open, I can't promise I'll fix it as neatly." I blinked in a daze. "Dr. Tom?" I had asked around about him. Tom was the youngest top physician at the Imperial Medical Office, and everyone in the city said his skills were incredible. Any strange or difficult illness in his hands could practically be brought back from the dead. But he had a cold temper and showed no mercy. Even when treating the Emperor, he kept a straight face and barely smiled. Tom casually hummed in response, then walked to the table and wrote a prescription. "My sister told me to watch over you. She said you were reckless and told me to keep an eye on you so you don't get yourself killed." Tom looked up at me. "If you have something to say it." "What about Commander Anna?" Tom clicked his tongue, looking like he had expected exactly that. "She has work to do. She couldn't leave, but she was worried about you, so she kicked me over here." I thanked him softly, but then I heard him say, "At first I didn't want to come." He glanced at me. "I hate saving people with a death wish. But the Queen also asked, so I had to treat your wound." He was actually pretty decent, just not a single nice word came out of his mouth. While I was muttering to myself, Tom placed a small blue-green bottle beside my pillow. "I'll change your medicine once a day. If it hurts, take one. Don't tough it out." I silently took back what I had just thought. Fine, he did have one nice sentence. After Tom left, I fiddled with the little blue-green bottle and spoke softly. "Have you watched enough?" In the corner where the candlelight couldn't reach, a wandering ghost appeared. "Lucy, you're vicious." He stepped out of the darkness, letting the moonlight pass through his body. He snorted coldly. "Do you really think I can't tell what you're planning?" I said nothing. His voice turned hoarse. "You went through all that trouble to set this trap and nearly lost your life, just to break off our engagement?" Our eyes met. The emotion in his eyes was impossible to hide. Anger, confusion, and hurt pride. "We were supposed to be husband and wife. Do you really have no heart?" I laughed in surprise. My heart has always been empty. There's nothing wrong with that. Bamboo is strong because it's hollow. That's why wind can't break it and snow can't bend it. He stared at me blankly, his eyes covered with a layer of mist. Can ghosts cry? I was honestly confused, but then I thought about it. He didn't even have a body anymore, so where would tears come from? It was just obsession playing tricks. What kind of deep love are you pretending to have? You've watched this show for so many days. Don't you find yourself disgusting? After that night, I never saw that bitter ghost again. I spent half a month recovering and slowly became able to move. Tom still came every day to change my medicine. He always left in a hurry and never said more than 5 sentences. One day, I spoke the 6th sentence first. Dr. Tom, I want to study medicine. He was organizing his medicine box. His hand paused and he looked up at me. Oh, I understood what that meant soon enough. The next day, when Tom came to change my medicine, he brought a whole box of books. The Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon, Treatise on Cold Damage, Essential Prescriptions, Divine Farmer's Materia Medica, and the Classic of Difficult Issues. Stacked together, they were taller than me. Tom spoke coldly. Read them. I casually opened one. It even had his notes inside. The corners of my eyes curved. These medical books were not unfamiliar to me at all. In my last life at the Commander's Manor, I had endless free time. No one talked to me and no one visited. Reading was my only entertainment. There was a row of medical books in the study. I read them over and over until I could recite them, but some parts were extremely hard to understand. With no one to guide me, I could only half understand them. But now, with Tom's notes, I instantly understood things I never grasped in my last life. When Tom came again on the 7th day, he heard me say with a smile, Dr. Tom, I finished the books. Tom picked up the Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon with a half smile. The spiritual pivot, recite it. I started immediately. The Yellow Emperor asked Chibo, I govern the people, nurture them, and collect their taxes. I pity those who lack enough and suffer illness. I didn't recite especially fast, and sometimes I had to pause and think, but I didn't miss a single word. Tom silently picked up another book. The chapter on organs, meridians, early symptoms, pulse, and treatment. I answered smoothly. Someone asked, what does it mean for a superior doctor to treat illness before it happens? The master said, when treating early illness, see disease in the liver and know it may spread to the spleen. So first, strengthen the spleen. When the spleen is strong through the seasons, evil cannot invade, and no extra tonifying is needed. Lesser doctors don't understand this, and only treat the liver. After I finished, I stopped and looked at him. Tom seemed quite satisfied. He pulled a medical case file from his medicine box and tossed it in front of me. Go through it and tell me which prescription is wrong. He pulled over a chair, sat across from me, and started reading. By evening, I closed the case file and handed it back. He glanced at my notes and smiled faintly. What you pointed out really is debatable. The Imperial Medical Office argued over it for 2 days and finally used a compromise formula. Still not as good as your new one. Continue tomorrow. I blinked, suddenly wanting to cry and laugh at the same time. I thought, Lucy, your last life wasn't wasted. Even when you were walking through the dark, every step still counted. The back courtyard at the Imperial Medical Office became the place I reported to every day, and I learned extremely fast. Even Jack was shocked by my talent. In just 2 months, my prescriptions could pass as medical records. That day, I was sorting herbs when the courtyard gate was kicked open. Miss Lucy looking pretty relaxed, huh? Tom looked down at me with arrogance. I looked for you for half a month, so this is where you were hiding. I stood up calmly, not panicking at all. I am studying medicine at the Imperial Medical Bureau. Tom sneered. You're about to become someone's wife. Why study medicine? I looked at him, confused. I already broke off the engagement. Tom's face darkened. Who said that? Her Majesty the Queen. Half a month ago, I asked her for a reward and she agreed. You didn't know? After I woke up, the Queen promised me a reward. I told her straight up, I wanted to break off my engagement with Tom. The Queen went quiet for a while. Tom, that girl does have a temper, but you don't have to. I softly cut her off. I'm not doing this out of anger. Seeing how firm I was, the Queen stopped trying to persuade me. Tom probably heard about it, but didn't take it seriously. Now he stood in front of me, looking furious. Lucy, have you lost your mind? I looked at him calmly. Tom opened his mouth. Then his eyes suddenly landed on Jack inside the room. Jack had his head down, reading a book, as if he hadn't noticed the argument at all. Tom stared at him for a while, then suddenly realized something. You broke off our engagement because of this pretty boy? I frowned. Dr. Jack is only my teacher. Tom laughed mockingly. A man and a woman alone in the same room, and you expect me to believe he's just your teacher? I never knew the palace had such filthy dealings. I raised my hand and slapped him across the face, my voice icy. General Tom, shut your mouth. Her Majesty approved my studies with Dr. Jack herself. Long after Tom left, I still stood there in a daze, his words echoing in my head. You think breaking off the engagement ends this? Let me tell you, Lucy, I like forcing people. Dead or alive, I'll haunt you either way. Expressionless, I shook out my hand. Jack's voice came from behind me. I turned around. At some point, he had walked out and held out his hand. He glanced at my reddened palm and smiled faintly. Not bad, you're improving. I fell into deep thought. Those siblings were definitely cut from the same cloth. Tom had been stressed lately. News that he had been dumped again had spread across the capital, and the Queen had approved it. He didn't even get a chance to argue. Tom, Miss Lucy saved my life. I couldn't refuse her. Your aunt knows you won't lack other women, but he just couldn't swallow his pride. What kind of woman couldn't Tom get? Yet the daughter of a minor official not only rejected him in public, but even asked to break off the engagement herself. Now the whole capital was laughing at him. Did you hear? Miss Lucy dumped young General Tom. That's not called dumping him. It's called breaking off the engagement. What's the difference? Either way, she didn't want him. Lately, he kept thinking back to that scene in the mountains. Lucy held that branch covered in blood, standing her ground. He was restless. So restless he didn't even have time to comfort Anna. Tom crushed the wine cup in his hand. The shards cut his fingers and blood streamed down. But then a cold laugh came from inside the study. Is that all you've got? Tom instantly drew his sword. Who's there? He turned around and locked eyes with another version of himself. The man's face was pale as paper, his eyes pitch black. Under the moonlight, he floated lightly without even a shadow. Tom's pupils shrank. What the hell are you? That thing smiled. I'm you. The ghost told him a few things. For example, in his past life, after he married Lucy, he died by her hand. Tom laughed. Are you kidding me? You mean that wooden, emotionless woman? If you look down on her so much, how did you still end up getting dumped by her? Tom couldn't laugh anymore. Why did you come to me? He turned his head away, his tone stiff. The ghost floated closer. To teach you how to win her back. Tom looked like he'd just heard the biggest joke in the world. Why would I win back a woman who dumped me? The ghost copied what he had said earlier that day and repeated it flatly. Let me tell you, Lucy, I like forcing people. Tom fell into an awkward silence. You heard that too? The ghost mocked him, stubborn as ever. That night, Tom didn't sleep at all. His mind was full of what the ghost had said. You just haven't truly lost her yet. You'll regret it. You'll regret how you treated her. Go take a look. See what she does every day. See what kind of person she really is. Tom couldn't help asking, what happened after that? After that, you'll end up just like me, dead with your eyes wide open. By some strange twist of fate, Jack believed what that ghost had said. Even he didn't know why. It was early summer. The locust tree was thick with leaves, just enough to hide him. He stayed up in the tree, secretly watching Lucy. Sometimes she slowly picked herbs, crushed them, and brewed medicine. Other times she sat across from Tom, writing prescriptions with her head down. Every now and then she'd ask something. Tom would answer, and she'd nod before writing again. This was a Lucy he had never seen before, so radiant he couldn't look away. He turned and left. The next day he came again, then the third day, the fourth, and the fifth. He told himself he was just here to see what made Lucy bold enough to break off their engagement. Then one day, half a month later, it started raining. She held an umbrella in one hand and a lunchbox in the other. Jack stood in the rain, watching her take out a few plates of pastries, then serve a bowl of hot porridge and bring it to Tom. Tom frowned, his face full of resistance. Lucy blinked and said, if you skip breakfast, your stomach gets weak, digestion slows down, and your energy drops. Keep that up and all kinds of illnesses will follow. Tom had nothing to say. He obediently picked up the bowl. Lucy smiled happily. That's more like it. Jack suddenly found the scene painfully irritating. He had never eaten anything she cooked. That ghost had been married to her before, but who knew if he had ever eaten her cooking? At that moment, Jack almost lost his mind. He thought about it for a whole day and night. Early the next morning, he stopped Lucy on her way to the palace. The young general, always admired by everyone, had no idea how to please someone. He could only walk straight up to her and awkwardly say, Lucy, I'll teach you martial arts. After thinking it over for ages, he felt this was a great idea. Last time she killed that tiger, all she had was courage. If she ran into danger again, relying on reckless bravery alone would get her killed sooner or later. Besides, the martial arts he taught had to be more useful than those herbs Tom kept messing with. But Lucy turned him down. No need to worry, someone's already teaching me. Jack froze. Who? Tom. That sickly guy? He couldn't even kill a chicken. Lucy went quiet for a second. He can butcher chickens. Jack was about to lose it. Is that the point? He decided to go see what was going on himself. That evening he found Lucy in the woods west of the city. She was wearing loose riding clothes, her hair tied high, and holding a wooden sword. Tom stood behind her, one hand holding her wrist, the other pressed against her waist. After adjusting her posture, he stepped back 2 paces, crossed his arms, and watched her practice. Jack stared at them in a daze for a long time, his knuckles turning white. Hiding over here and spying? What do you think you look like? A stray mad dog no one wants. Jack immediately turned around and stared hard at that face identical to his own. Then let me ask you this. What did you do to her? The ghost froze. Why would she rather risk her life fighting a tiger than marry you? Jack stared at the ghost's evasive eyes, and suddenly, he understood everything. You said you two were husband and wife in your past life, but in her heart, you're scarier than any beast. The ghost's lips moved, but he couldn't say a single word. The younger Jack looked at him with a cold smile, as if he had suddenly remembered all those years from his past life. After a long silence, no one knew which version of him spoke first, tearing open that hatred. Anna was preparing to return to the border. The war at the front was getting tense. She had submitted a report to the court and would leave the day after tomorrow. I thought it over all night. The next morning, I went to the training field to find Anna. She had just finished training, sweat on her forehead, and planted her spear into the ground, leaning on it while waiting for me to speak. I looked up at her. General Anna, I heard the front line is short on army doctors. She raised an eyebrow, waiting for me to continue. I've studied medicine for quite a while. I can treat colds, injuries, and broken bones. Imperial physician Tom said I'm ready to work on my own. I handed her Tom's recommendation letter. In truth, I was still far from skilled enough, but I wanted to seize this chance. When Tom learned what I had in mind, he didn't ask much. He simply wrote the letter in silence. I secretly opened it and read it. Someone so sharp-tongued in daily life wrote with a surprising gentleness, determined, highly skilled in medicine, and capable of handling matters alone. I want to go to the front with you. Anna didn't look at the letter. I understand you, and I trust you. She gently patted my shoulder. Before dawn the day after tomorrow at the 10-mile pavilion outside the city. If you're late, we won't wait. That afternoon, the sun was bright. I stood far away watching her ride off on horseback. How could anyone in this world not like her? She rode a white horse fast as a shooting star, living freely in this world, and even facing death with honor. I lowered my head and smiled faintly. I used to hate you a little, but now I finally realize you really are wonderful. You were so good that I wanted to become someone like you. I quickly packed my things. A few outfits, a set of silver needles, the medical books Dr. Tom gave me, and the dagger General Tom gave me. That was everything I owned. I left a letter for my mother. Aside from the two Toms, I told no one I was leaving. But that night, uninvited guests came. "Miss Lucy, the General would like to speak with you." Before I could say anything, a towel covered my mouth and nose. When I woke up, I was somehow dressed in wedding clothes. In front of me, a pair of wedding candles burned quietly. This was the General's mansion. The scene looked painfully familiar. My wife. A pair of cold hands helped me up. Jack was dressed in bright red wedding robes with a strange, sickly look on his face. I saw through it at once. He wasn't the younger Jack. The red candles lit up the bed. Jack said, "On our wedding night back then, I regretted not coming. If I had drunk that wedding wine with you, would we have lasted?" I turned away in disgust. "Why is it you? Did you kill him? Are you pitying me?" He laughed softly. "We were the same person to begin with." I counted the night watch sounds outside and said nothing. Dawn was almost here. Jack saw through my thoughts. He said he had forged my handwriting and written to Tom, saying I had thought it over and still wanted to stay in the capital, hoping the General would understand. "Tom can leave, you can't." I stared at him blankly, trembling all over. "You're insane." Tears fell from my eyes. If I got to live again, was this still going to be my whole life? When Jack saw my tears, he panicked and knelt in front of me. He tried to wipe them away, but the more he wiped, the harder they fell. "I'm sorry." His voice was shaking. He was actually crying. "I'm sorry, Lucy. I'm sorry. Please give me one more chance. In this life, I'll never fail you again." I stared at his pitiful, pleading face and said every word clearly. "I hate you." Jack smiled through his tears. "Then hate me. Just never forget me." He leaned in, pressing his forehead against mine. "If I can't have your love, then having your hate is fine too. In this life, you're only meant to be tangled up with me until death." He could actually cry? In that second, I suddenly understood. The one crying right now wasn't him. It was the younger Jack. I saw two expressions fighting over Jack's face. One was the madness of an evil ghost. The other was the confusion and pain of a young man. It was like the two souls had never reached an agreement and were fighting over the same body. "Get out! Get out right now! Even now you still want to let her go?"
She said she hates you, didn't you hear her?
"She doesn't want this. So what? I want to force her. What's wrong with that?" Jack let go of me and grabbed his own neck. While they were locked in that fight, I ran. Under the endless night, I rode through the streets. The hem of my wedding dress was too long and caught on the stirrup. I tugged it twice, couldn't free it, and simply ripped it off. "The weather is dry. Watch your flames." The night watchman passed the alley with a lantern, his back bent, the firelight flickering in the dark. All those watch calls I once listened to through tears were left behind me. This time I didn't have to wait for dawn. I would chase the sun myself. Forward, forward. "Shut up! We're not the same!" Jack rolled on the ground in pain. "Let me tell you, I will never become as pathetic as you." Gasping for breath, he drove the dagger into his chest. The moment blood flowed out, the evil ghost finally stopped fighting. That young body crashed to the ground and finally went silent. The next second, Jack remembered the Lucy he had once dreamed of. That was who she used to be. She never cried or smiled, trapped alone in this small courtyard for an entire lifetime. Jack thought, she should never have lived like that. "Lucy, no one is stopping you this time. Go, go!" Jack forced his eyes wide open, staring at the open door as the night wind blew in. The moment the candles went out, that evil ghost screamed. He had fought for so long, stolen this body, put on wedding robes, and lit the wedding candles. But in the end, he still never drank that cup of wine. His younger self had finally learned to let go, while the ghost who got to live again was trapped in obsession, unable to turn back. In the darkness, the wind sounded lonely. Only the evil ghost's ugly laugh remained, though no one knew if he was speaking to Jack or to himself. "You fell in love with her. Jack, you'll die with your eyes open." This time, Jack made no sound. Love, hate, and all their messy entanglements were a complete disaster. The cold wind howled past. This was the darkest night before dawn. Dew soaked my clothes, chilling me, but my mind became even clearer. The Lucy family, the Marshal's mansion, and the capital were all left far behind me. In the faint light, the city gate appeared. It was huge and silent. I didn't hesitate. I rushed out. The moment my warhorse passed through the gate, something seemed to snap behind me. Maybe it was the rope of fate. I lifted my head and looked at the moon. Over the wide fields, even the moon turned into a star. It was no longer that tearful, sorrowful eye hanging above the high walls. "Lucy, oh Lucy, so this is how wide the world really is." Outside the 10-mile pavilion, someone stood there in silver armor with a long spear resting beside him. The handwriting was pretty convincing. Tom looked me over. I was covered in dust, but my eyes were bright. He raised his brows in surprise. "I almost went back to save you." "No need." I lifted my chin. "Just a little situation." He didn't ask anything else and tossed me a water flask. The water was cold. As it slid down my throat, my racing heart slowly calmed. Only then did I realize it was dawn. Sunlight crossed the night and changed the whole world. Tom mounted his warhorse and looked back at me. "Coming?" I smiled. "The road matters more." The past isn't worth mentioning. The world was vast, and ahead the sunlight was just beginning to glow.